Hey guys, this is James from TeaDB. Welcome to episode number 50. And so today I'm going to continue on the line of very expensive Young Sheng that I'm drinking. Excited to try this tea. Big thanks to Grill. Follow him on Steepster. Follow him on Instagram, who sent me a few different teas from a operation called Teapals, which basically resells Chenyuan Hao, which is a Taiwanese boutique label that's really known for their Iwu teas and known to have a really strong attention to detail about their processing, or so I hear. I'm not super experienced with their brand. I've had a few of their teas. I think I had one from Tony over at Origin Tea before he shut down shop. And I've been drinking my way through a few of these. So today's tea is the 2014 Bingdao, and it's an area where I don't really feel like I have much of a grasp at all of what it has to offer. I sessioned this tea last night, and I was like, it was a really tricky tea for me to place. So I will tell you guys that you should take that all with a grain of salt, everything that I'm saying here, because unlike Iwu teas or something like that, where I've drank in supposedly a whole ton of different ones, Bingdao is not one of those areas where I have any sort of tons of experience, and from my session last night, it made me feel like I didn't have a ton of experience with it either. So just going to say that to you guys outright. I did enjoy the tea. So it's sort of got, there's definitely some fruit in the aroma. The fruit is very different from what I'm used to. I know in one of the Steepster reviews, I think by Grill actually, he talked about it smelling like apples. I could definitely get that off of this initial scent. Bingdao is also known for sort of a cooling effect, so that's something I'm going to be watching out for. Alright, so this is literally the first steep of the day for me. Hopefully clear out some of my sinuses. So it's sort of got, the aroma changes so much in some of these early steeps. It's got a lot of sweetness coming from it. Tricky to describe, maybe a little earthy, sort of like a little wood, I guess. It's not like the wood that you would get from mature, more Pu'erh with a little bit of age, but I guess the overwhelming amount of it would be fairly sweet. So I'm using 5 grams for 70 milliliters. I had this tea yesterday, and I wanted to review it quickly while it was in my muscle memory, just because, I don't know, it is a really tricky tea for me to personally place. So I will let that cool for a hot second. Getting more of those apple smells to it. Alright. And we are going to drink. Cheers, guys. Alright, so the body is a little bit medium thin still. I would guess that it's probably going to thicken up as we do. Any bitterness in it is really, really light right now. I would say lighter than, I don't know, what I'm used to. Lighter than average, at least. It sort of has that fruit taste, but the most interesting parts of this tea I found, and this was true about yesterday too, where is the throat taste, which I find to be different and interesting, and easily one of the more interesting parts of the tea. So, yeah, steep number 2. So the scent has moved a little bit away from the fruit and more into sort of like a grainy, gritty aroma. Cheers. There's a slight bit of astringency here, but again, the bite to the tea is very light. It has definite throat feel to it as you swallow it, and then there's a lot of things, especially after you swallow, that sort of happen to the throat, and it's kind of difficult to describe. It's different from sort of like the Pu'erh, where it goes down and there's like a giant balling effect. This accompanies more of like the whole throat, a lot of sweetness. Yesterday when I had this tea, I went out and hung out with my family for a few hours, and I was tasting that tea for a very long time, longer than I would normally notice for even very good teas. Still got some of that that apple taste to it, which I am having a hard time unseeing right now. Cheers. So despite the aroma getting a little bit more grainy and stuff, this is probably the most bitter steep, sort of like bitter apples is how I would describe it, at least the flavor. The soup has thickened somewhat. It's definitely not the thickest tea that you're going to run into. Yeah. It's got a nice smooth texture to it overall. Very easy to drink right now. Yeah, we're gonna keep going. So the tea has definitely, the bite has increased, so I'm still going to keep these infusion times relatively low. And I heated this water right before the camera started, so I think I'll probably heat it up before the next set of infusions. So, a little bit fruity, a little bit grainy. That's it. Alright, infusion number 4, guys. Cheers. The thickness is a little bit better. The bitterness and astringency, it's still real light. Definitely on the light end. While I turned off the camera and took maybe a 2-minute break, I was noticing that I was starting to feel some of the energy, the chi that comes off the tea. It's kind of subtle. It's not like the last thoughts or something like that, where you have it and you immediately notice it. But I found that this tea, and this is similar to my session yesterday afternoon, was that the chi kind of snuck up on me on like the 6th or the 7th infusion, and then I found that the chi was really persistent in the sense that I was still getting really good energy off of it, maybe even when the tea itself did not have as much flavor coming off of it as it does in the initial steep. So steeps 12, 13. The tea is not an extremely durable tea, well, at least according to my session last night, it was not. I'm noticing that I'm starting to salivate. There's a lot of aftertaste on the bottom of my mouth, especially in my throat, as I was talking about before. And I'm going to see how this 5th infusion is and brew out the rest of the tea according to that. So, the tea is really thickened. It's continued to thicken. This may actually be one of the thickest brews. So what I'm going to do actually on the 6th infusion is I'm going to push it a little bit more, probably beyond what I should, just to see what we can get out. I don't think the tea is going to become too astringent, although I would expect some of that to come out. So I think it's going to be interesting. So I'll maybe do this for 20 to 30 seconds. Yeah, so there's more, way more floral notes coming off of the aroma of the tea now. Floral notes, still a little bit of that apple. In my experience, this tea, as you continue to brew it out, sort of veered more towards those floral notes, especially from like steep 6 to 12 or 13, which is like right around where we're entering right now. Cheers. So, for those of you that may or may not have believed that this tea didn't have chi, the 6th infusion is plenty of proof, for me at least. It's the heaviest infusion, but I can feel the chi really hitting me right now. Good soup thickness. The astringency is actually really quite well balanced within this cup. So I think we're getting to the point where the tea is starting to be very pushable. We could probably extend the brew time to a minute in a few steeps, and sort of entering that phase. We don't have to keep it super low to brew around astringency or anything like that. So really delicious taste. If you're okay with sort of like having a somewhat bitter cup, then pushing these teas like this, these young Pu'erhs, can be a really nice way to just sort of taste sort of like the main assets, which for me are the chi, and really that really pungent throat feel, which I'm really enjoying. Definitely one of the best parts of the tea. Cheers. So in comparison, this 7th steep I cut back a little bit. It's not quite as thick, It's still got a lot of those characteristics and that fruit apple flavor to it. Very tasty. Yeah, so a lot of floral sweetness coming off the nose now. Pretty much all the fruit, by my estimations, is out of the aroma at this point. And I would expect this tea to continue to brew out for maybe 4 or 5 times. So I think that just about wraps up InBetweenIsode number 50. Please let me know what you guys would like to see. I've been reviewing a lot of these more expensive young sheng pu'ers, but a lot of these have been like sort of opportunities that are too good to be true. So I want to take advantage of that, document some of my notes on video form. So let me know how you guys like it. If you'd like to see more affordable teas, I don't know, that are 20 cents a gram, or really, really cheap teas like 10 cents a gram. Always love to hear from you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.